This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
BBC News at midday. This is Catherine Crandall. The new Health Secretary Sajid Javid has said...
Right, I'm off now. I will see you tomorrow. Half day. And we go again. Wembley bound. Oh, it's just started to rain. Hang on, let's duck under here. That's better. I don't want to get too wet. Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England supporters podcast. Fortunately, I'm not the superstitious type of person. This tournament, and the guys I've met up with, we've met at different pubs, I've got off at different train stops than my usual ones. I've worn different shirts to each game. We don't need to talk lucky pants though. We don't need to go down that route. Coming up, we're going to chat with an England blogger on the game and also get your reactions to it. It is of course match day, it is of course Germany, it is of course at home. It's the penultimate round of 16 match. Winners will face either Sweden or Ukraine. Already, we've seen Wales go home at the hands of Denmark. Italy eventually saw off Austria after extra time. The Czechs saw off the 10 men of Holland. Belgium knocked holders Portugal out with a cracker. Did you see that from Thorgan Hazard? Then Monday, Manic Monday. Spain put Croatia out. What a game that was. And to think I said I wasn't impressed by the Spaniards early on. This is me eating my words. Switzerland then overcame France after a 3-3 draw, then winning on penalties. France, favourites, one of, out. And what else happened since we last spoke? Oh yeah, this one annoyed me. The talk of contract extension for Gareth Southgate. It's not something I want to spend a lot of time on now. It's perhaps something for a later episode. I think this all came out, was it Thursday, Friday last week? Basically, as England were paired against Germany, the FA were asked the question, if we were to be eliminated by Germany, would Gareth keep his job? Ridiculous question, in my opinion, given that a ball hadn't even been kicked. And the FA's chief executive, Mark Bullingham, replied with, "Our support is unwavering. We're 100% behind Gareth. Gareth knows exactly how we feel about him. We feel he is brilliant both on and off the pitch and we want him to carry on. He's doing a great job regardless of Tuesday." Absolutely. And contract talk like this doesn't help anyone, especially before a crucial game. This isn't the time. People's views become distorted if it doesn't go our way. Not just this afternoon, but later on in the tournament. Knives are going to be out. But let's not forget what Gareth has bought this England team. Third in the list of England managers with wins in tournaments behind Sven-Goran Eriksson and Sir Alf Ramsey. Penalty successes, semi-finals, yes, they're in the past, but World Cup qualification is in progress, where we're currently top of the group. And I think it's clear what side of the fence I'm on, but we'll save this one for another day. UK, we are in. Made our way through. We've got a band inside for this game. Apparently they're allowed in because it's a larger attendance. 40,000 inside Wembley today. Fortunately, I've just got inside just as it started to rain. Absolutely started to hammer it down, which wasn't ideal for people trying to give their COVID results and show tickets all out in the open. But Germany section, lots of German flags being flown towards the far end of the ground. Here I am. Oh, just as Germany come out. Properly a lot of German flags waving, a lot of boos from the England fans. But I found my seat. I'm actually in block 109, which people will recognise as being one of the prominent England supporters areas here at Wembley. We've got an hour until kick-off. It is the early hours of Wednesday morning. I've no charge left in my phone. I'm on my way home, following the England victory over Germany. We've finally done it. Finally seen off a big nation in a knockout tournament game. Walking through my hometown high street brings back some memories, actually. Various pubs that I've watched England lose in over the years at major tournaments. France 98. I remember seeing England go out to Argentina over there. England Germany 2000. Saw that one in there. 2004. Waterfront pub, or whatever it was called back then. Saw us losing there. So to be walking these streets now, after seeing us win a knockout game against Germany, it's just such a buzz. I remember these streets, I think it was after various games that we'd won early in a tournament. All lining the streets, England fans coming out of the pub. Flags over cars. We were banging on cars' windows and roofs that were driving through the town. Properly inappropriate. That's the excitement that following England brings you. Just so glad that I was able to experience that there at Wembley tonight. 2-0 against Germany. Sterling, his third goal of the tournament. Kane finally got off the mark. Tap bar. I'm sure I watched a game in there as well. Just kind of hoping that even with all the restrictions that there are in place at the moment, that people have been able to celebrate watching England in the pubs that haven't been able to get to Wembley. That they've been able to experience this moment, basically. I managed to catch the Sweden-Ukraine game. What a cruel, cruel way for Sweden to go out. Ukraine, though, we can beat them. Means I've got to find a Ukrainian person to speak to now. My Ukrainian isn't really up to much, I have to be honest. It's just such a shame that it's going to be in a place that we're all unable to get to. So frustrating. Rome. Gladiatorial Rome. But this is me now. Home time. I'll catch you later. Right then, it's time to talk about the Germany game. The voice is slightly going. Hopefully we'll get through this, but it's almost my pleasure to welcome back from threelions.net, Aidan Smith. Hello, Aidan.
Hi, Russell. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm feeling all good and chipper and every other bright, sparkly word you could think of. 2-0 against Germany. I'm over the moon. Yourself?
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised to hear anything else, wouldn't you? I mean, going into it, I was so convinced that we were going to lose. I don't know why. I just thought there was anyone on that German lineup who could get a goal. And I just didn't feel the same. Having seen our group stage, I know that we're a fantastic outfit. And defensively, we've certainly been stronger throughout this tournament than I thought we would be. But I didn't see us, knocking two past the Germans in normal time.
I must admit, you look back on our group games and how we played and the results and the 2 goals we scored, you think, this is going to take some sort of performance to get past the Germans, because in their defence they have got some very good players that we're all fully aware of.
Yeah, they do. They've got, I think 4 of their starting lineup were in that World Cup winning team in 2014 as well. So they've got that experience, but they've also got some fantastic youth coming through. And actually, I think it was the youth that we needed to be careful of, because, the likes of Kai Havertz, Leon Goretzka, and then the 2 wing-backs as well. I mean, they've been dangerous in this tournament up until obviously yesterday when they went out. But yeah, we had to be careful, and I think we kept them at bay pretty much as well as we could have expected.
it was that early for 15, 20 minutes that Germany had a fair amount of possession. They didn't do anything really, or they didn't do enough with it, but we weathered it enough to let that pass by, and we could slowly get into the game.
Yeah, I think it was important that we got past that stage. You know, a lot of the players have recognised that in the post-match interviews and things that I've been listening to. They knew that in the first 10, 15 minutes, their backs were against the wall, and you know, we were kind of struggling to, do we go and press? Do we sit in? Do we kind of, you know, it was I think hard to get to grips with executing that game plan just as they had rehearsed. But I think after that, yeah, I was saying to a few of my friends, I was saying Germany were on top of that game for 1/6. You know, 15 minutes out of night, we had the rest of it. From 15 minutes onwards, I felt completely in control of the game. That counts for a lot in knockout games. You know, you can win the game counter-attacking with 5 minutes of excellence where you grab a goal or two, but we didn't do that. The plan was to take the game to the Germans, to be aggressive all over the pitch, and I think we executed that really well.
So you went into the game feeling nervous, and then once that 15, 20 minutes had passed, so your emotions kind of changed, did they then? When did you start becoming confident?
Well, I tell you what, I actually didn't feel nervous in the lead up to the game, because from my perspective, I'm kind of past that point now of you know, let's hope that, you know, this team loses in their game so we don't have to play them and we get an easier run and all of that. I don't really believe in that anymore. I kind of think if you're going to be the best team in Europe or the best team in the world, then you've got to beat the best team. So it doesn't really matter which side of the draw you get chosen on. Again, I was looking at the Sweden-Ukraine game after our game, and I was thinking, well, it doesn't really matter who wins. We've got to beat them, whoever it is, if we want to go to a semi-final at Wembley. I was sort of the belief that if we beat them, if we beat Germany, then that's fantastic. We've shown that we can do that. And I mentioned in my match report that was our first competitive win in a major tournament against a major nation for the first time since beating Argentina in 2002. That was huge for us. We couldn't have lost that game. We couldn't have dealt with it again. On the other hand, if we'd have lost, I almost feel like, well, we wouldn't have won the tournament anyway if we can't beat the Germans. So we may as well have gone out now, if you know what I mean.
I understand where you're coming from. And yeah, I want to touch on the beating of the big nation. It's another one of these milestones that Gareth Southgate has ticked off, really. We've got past the penalties, got to the semi-final stage. We've now knocked this hoodoo of a big nation, knocking one out in a tournament, in a European Championships tournament, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, this team is breaking down barriers. You can say what you want about Southgate and whatever you think about his tactical nous, but you know, we're achieving all these things, all these landmarks that have bothered us and our country for so long on the pitch. And that last night was the first time that we've won a Euros knockout game in normal time. So all these things that are getting broken down that we're achieving, you know, these players are writing their own history. And I think that's so important, to just not be bothered by the past. And Gareth was saying in the lead up to the game that, you know, I've got to be careful that I don't kind of make it too much about kind of getting revenge or righting the wrongs of before, or bring any kind of personal emotion that I've got into the fixture from his experiences, obviously in 96. He's got to be careful, because a lot of those players weren't even born then, or weren't even into football then. They were just, youngsters back then, and maybe hadn't even joined an academy by then, you know. So he's got to be careful to make sure that everything that he's feeding them is succinct, but also relevant to them. Kind of, they're able to kind of identify with everything that he's saying and kind of understand that, because otherwise I think the players can kind of get lost in it and sort of not really understand it, or I think we've been in danger of that before. So I think it's fantastic that we're breaking down barriers and they're writing their own history. That
penalty miss, obviously, that Gareth refers to, I mean, it's only brought up because probably the media bring it up. And obviously in this particular game, the Germany game is where it became relevant again. It's never going to go away, but he's for this tournament, that's gone. Hopefully
that we needn't talk about it anymore, really. It must really annoy him and frustrate him, obviously because of what it is, but just the needless times it comes up. And I realise I'm bringing it up again.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah. Do you know what? I think it still bothers him. I still think he's guilty about the fact that the other, I think it was 22-man squads back then, so the other 21 players in that England team lost out on a chance to play a final because of him. And I think that goes around in his head, and I don't think that'll ever go away for him. He's also said at the other end of the spectrum that this game was not about revenge. It was not a personal battle for him. It was just another game that they had to approach in the same way. Obviously, it's in the back of your mind. Yeah, I think that can be put to rest. And what he's doing as a manager, I think there's a possibility that he's going to have exceeded his legacy as a player by, his management with England. So, I think it's really important for him on a personal level, but everyone knows it's not really about him. He'll be the first to say it's not about me. It's about the team, and it's just another game. And there's a certain truth to that. I think you've got to be of that mindset, I think, if you're going to be a winner.
They say it's not about him, but he's the one that has to make the changes when need be. And he was the one that made the change to take off Bukayo Saka and bring on Jack Grealish. And some would say that was the turning point in the game, because those last 20 minutes was, okay, I don't think maybe Jack Grealish had the impact that we know he can have, but he's coming on, G'd the crowd up, and he had his few touches and provided the goal for Kane as well. But Gareth Southgate knew when to change it.
Yeah, Saka was brilliant in the first half, and Grealish was pivotal to both of the goals when he came on. I think It's so dangerous as an England manager to get caught up in that kind of what's the general public saying? What are they thinking? I've got to cover my own back that I don't just completely lose them, or they become, kind of disillusioned with the national team. That's important that he doesn't get caught up in all of that, because then he will start acting with, I believe, less authority. He won't make the bold decisions that have won him games. The problem now, I think, these days is with social media. Everything is so reactionary. 1 minute everyone is loving Jack Grealish and everything, like loving Phil Foden, whatever. And then Bukayo Saka has 90 minutes of good football, and suddenly everyone's saying, "Oh, well, where's Phil Foden at this tournament? Where's Jack Grealish?" And then as soon as Grealish comes on, everyone was wanting Grealish to come on social media. As soon as he comes on against Scotland, gets his first minutes, and we don't win, it's all about, where was Jadon Sancho? Do you know what I mean? So it's laughable, really, what goes on social media. And I think it's so important for the players, but most importantly, Gareth, to stay away from that. Don't get involved in that, because you just don't need to, because it will just muddle your mind and you won't be able to make those bold decisions. He was saying in his interview after the game that the lineup that he put out, he knows it's an unpopular lineup. I mean, I was looking on social media before the game. Everyone was saying, "Oh, what? No creative midfielder, no attacking midfielder. What's going on here? 3 at the back. Oh, we're dead. The Germans have won." And he said, if we lose today, I'm dead. I'm killed. I'm going to get slaughtered online, and I'm going to get texts through my phone saying, "What have you just done?" But it came off, and I think in these key moments, obviously we've only been to 2 tournaments with Gareth, but more often than not, these bold decisions, they have come off for him. You need that bit of luck as a manager. You need that luck that, well, it's not really luck. It obviously 18 months of planning have gone into that Germany game in case we've had to play them. And I think he will have had a pretty firm idea of the best way to approach that. I'm sure you watched the thriller with Germany and Portugal in the group stage.
Yep.
I felt a very naive performance from Portugal. I think they didn't react. They didn't They didn't adapt really to Germany's system. I think they left so much space for Kimmich and Gersons on the wings in playing a back four that they did, Portugal. We're just getting a bit savvier as a team. I think we're just able to adapt more. And that was another thing that pleased me, was the fact that, okay, 3 group stage games with 4 at the back. We actually haven't played 3 at the back since November last year. So that's a bold decision. And I was almost pleased when I saw the lineup. I thought, yeah, okay, I prefer the 4 at the back. But, okay, we know that Gareth is now reacting. We know that he's adapting to the opposition. If he'd have just done 4 at the back, he'd have thought, okay, this is a bit similar to Russia. We're not really changing it based on who we're playing. But I felt we did yesterday. You only need to look at the lineup to see that. And I think, it paid off, and you need those bits of luck in tournaments.
Yeah. So when Luke Shaw crossed and Raheem Sterling tucked it in, what were your feelings then? Where were you watching the game?
I was round at my friend's house in their little cabin in the garden, and we had the big screen up. It felt like a fan park, even if it wasn't. There was no beer thrown around. I will say that, but no, it was fantastic. As I say, as much as we controlled the game, I always thought the Germans have got a goal in them in any of these 90 minutes. All it takes is 20 seconds. They could play a long ball. They could do something absolutely magic with one of those midfielders. Tony Kroos could pull the strings and create something, and they can score. And they didn't. And when it went in, it was magnificent, because I just thought, this is not the way it goes. This is not the script with England. And I love that we're breaking it down now. We're just going completely against what's supposed to happen. It feels like what has happened before. And then to go and get the second as well, I feel like in this tournament we could have done with, before this game, going on a little counter on 87 minutes or something like that, and just getting that second goal just as an assurance. And we did that. And there's not a lot to really complain about with that performance. I can't lie.
No. And that was exactly what Harry Kane needed, wasn't it? Just to get on the score sheet in this tournament. Yeah,
I mean, everyone knows with Harry Kane, strikers love scoring goals, and so does he. He's no different. I think it's not really, for him, I don't think he dwells as much on, I missed that big chance. I missed that. He had one against the Czech Republic, failed to really impose himself in the first two games, had a chance right on half-time last night where he tried to take it round Neuer. And I don't think he really dwells on them. It's all really just about, okay, the next chance, I'm going to score it. I'm going to score the next chance. Do you know what? I think the next chance was the goal, which was a good 35, 40 minutes later, which some people might find is a problem. But that's why you don't bring Kane off, I think. Just bring him on, because he's always got a goal in him. Always got a goal in him. I think it was bold to leave Calvert-Lewin out of the 23-man squad for the game anyway. But you just leave Kane on, get him a goal, and a knockout goal as well. I mean, that would do him a world of good.
One other player that I want to mention, and it ties in with what you said about Germany always being capable of a goal. And it was when Sterling gave the ball away, Muller ran through with it, and I think I must have had my head in my hands for about 5 seconds and sort of looking through my fingers. But that one player is Jordan Pickford, who not only had a great game yesterday, done exactly what he needed to, but he's had a great tournament so far, hasn't he?
He has. He really has. I mean, he finished the season very strongly with Everton, it must be said. I think he's just in a really good place at the moment. I think that's all it is, really. He's just in a great place. He's got a fantastic back line in front of him, whether it's 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think he's just in a great place. And 4 clean sheets. I mean, I know it's not all down to him, but it says a lot. Having conceded 8 goals in 2018 in 7 games in the World Cup, we kept 1 clean sheet, I think it was, against Sweden. That was it in the 7 games. And here we've got 4. We're yet to concede a goal. I mean, it's fantastic for him. Yeah, I can't complain, and I don't feel worried about when he gets the ball at his feet, or when there's a player running through on goal. I did get worried about the Muller chance. I can't lie, but usually I don't get worried. That's just because it was Germany and Thomas Muller and all the history he's got with England. That was a one-off, I swear.
So Germany gone. They're out. We've pushed them to one side. It's Ukraine next. I know you said whoever we face, we will have to beat them anyway. But what do you see? Do you fear?
Ukraine have got a goal in them. That's the first thing to say. Ukraine have got a goal in them, definitely. I think we can easily break Ukraine down if we find the right pockets of space, if we analyse their games that they've had so far in the right ways, figure out how to exploit them. As long as we're safe at the back, I think we can do it. I mean, they played a 4 at the back against Holland, so it could be the same against us. I think we play in a pretty similar way to Holland. So you can only speculate, really, but I feel confident. I do feel confident of a place in the semi-finals. And then even in the semi-finals, it's going to be either Denmark or the Czech Republic. I feel confident there, even though I know we don't have a great record recently against Denmark. We were kind of here 3 years ago when the draw opened up after the round of 16, and we thought, it's coming home. It's coming home. Everyone knows it's coming home. Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
It's coming home. And I think it was just a bit dangerous, that kind of mindset that we've already won it. It just doesn't, it never, ever ends well when you go in with that mindset. So it was very good to hear Southgate after the game yesterday saying that in the dressing room, they're already talking about Saturday, which put a smile on my face because I know that we're in good hands there. So I don't fear Ukraine. I know that they're able to get a goal from pretty much nothing, which is something we've just got to be careful of. You need to be fully focused for 95, 100 minutes against these sides. Otherwise you'll get beaten with a 1-0 or something like that. The win last night doesn't mean anything if we can't get through to the semi-finals.
Absolutely. Let's just take it one game at a time. Aidan,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your time as always. And well, we'll see how the rest of these games pan out, and we may speak again.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
Thank you very much to Aidan there. You can follow him on Twitter, and he's also got the website 3lions.net, and he's regularly updating that with various England reports as we go through this tournament. Hopefully many more to come. Right. As always, we've done throughout this tournament, we've heard from you, the fans. And once again, you've been very kindly emailing in your thoughts of the game against Germany. So, let's roll through those.
Hi Russell, down in Birmingham. What a day, what a night, what a match, what a performance, what a stadium, what a crowd. Absolutely loved every second of it. It's coming home, everything's falling into place. Saturday's going to be just as good. Obviously a massive shame we can't be there, but we'll be there in spirit, and we'll all be back at Wembley next Wednesday for the penultimate game before we lift the trophy on Sunday. Go on England!
Hi, I'm David Airy, England fan with no snazzy Twitter handle. Recording this the morning after the night before, as you can hear. Won't dwell on the tactics as I back whatever Southgate goes with, but special mention to Harry Maguire. I think he holds a key defensively and deserves huge applause. We must keep him fit. Atmosphere yesterday was something else. Not sure where the empty seats were. Maybe they were hidden under the turquoise trampolines. Time for the expats to step up in Rome. Ukraine are no mugs, but if we're going with a game plan, then maybe, just maybe. Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh my God. Gary from Channel England Football on YouTube. Sorry, I've just calmed down. What a result. It feels different now, doesn't it? It feels like this may be our time. First time in my time, England's beaten any major team in a knockout round. And I'm going to say it's coming home. You know, we've just got to take each game as it comes now. Not mess it up, and come on England. Nothing feels better than this, does it? Come on England, I absolutely love it.
Richard Cook here once again from the Outer Hebrides, and what can I say? That was an amazing result, and as I said pre-match, in Southgate we trust, and he absolutely delivered on that. So happy with the result and the win, and living on a Scottish island, the Scottish fans have gone very quiet all of a sudden. Bring on Ukraine on Saturday. I cannot wait.
Hey Russell, it's Sam here from It's Coming Home TV. Just I think the whole country needed that game today. It was unbelievable. It was, when you look back on it now, it was a tactical masterclass from Southgate, the way he brought Grealish on, and that really made the difference in the game. And on to Ukraine now in Rome, and hopefully we can bring it back for the semi at Wembley next week. It's coming home. Come on.
Hello, it's Matt here from Bristol and the Matt's YouTube channel. I thought England were okay. I'd say they deserved the win. Not a lot happened. There were a few moments here and there. Some might say England didn't play well, but you don't have to play well to win games, especially if you're a big team. And the big difference was England took their chances and Germany did not, especially that one at the end.
Hello, Russell. This is Gary from Walthamstow. Yeah, England get through. They went 2-0 against Germany, but even then, it's still a pretty average performance against an average team. Germany could have scored, Müller should have scored. They had other chances, Havertz a couple of times. It just worries me. You know, yeah, they may get through the quarterfinals, but when they play someone good, they're going to lose. Southgate doing okay, substitutions okay, but still pretty average.
always good to hear from you, the fans there. Lots of positivity. Although that last one has perhaps brought us back down to earth a little bit. Although perhaps that's what we need, not to get too carried away. Thanks as always. And we'll do the same after the Ukraine game, I think. And speaking of which, let's speak to Andrew Todos, Ukrainian football expert. Andrew, hello there. You all right?
Hi, Russell. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting a bit more about Ukraine and hopefully getting a bit more about the team that people don't know about out there.
Yeah, I think so. But first, let's cross this little bridge. That's not a Ukrainian accent, is it?
No, it's not. Born and raised in London. Born in Wembley, actually. A street behind the old Wembley Stadium. Lived there for the first 8 years of my life. So close connections to the home of football.
You didn't go to the same school as Raheem Sterling, did you?
No, I didn't, but close enough. Close enough. And yeah, first ever England game was Ukraine-England. So it's all coming full circle for me this weekend.
Magic. So, and you've got Ukrainian family. That's where the link comes in, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great stuff. I'm going to hold my hands up. I think I've only seen one full Ukraine game in this tournament because I think the rest have either clashed with something or I just haven't seen it. The first one against Holland I saw was a couple of cracking goals from Ukraine in that, and I thought they were a little bit unlucky. And then last night I saw the game there in the pub, so it was on. I was distracted, to be fair, until that last minute. But so if you're one of the third place finished teams, you kind of quietly sort of come through this, haven't you, to find yourself in this position now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been to all 4 matches. Went to Amsterdam and to Bucharest and was in Glasgow last night.
Wow.
Due to my media work. And yeah, I mean, that first Holland game, valiant performance, but, ultimately lost probably just because there was a bit more class in that Netherlands team and a few keeper mistakes. Second game, we played North Macedonia, beat them 2-1. Almost perfect first half, and then second half was just got a bit shaky and not really sure where the nerves came from. And then that final group game against Austria, 1-0 loss, but Ukraine really showed nothing. And after that match, everyone was like, well, is that it really? Has Shevchenko's team that went unbeaten in the qualifying campaign, beating the likes of Portugal and Serbia and finishing top and actually being one of the top seeds in the Euro draw, ending up finishing third and going out of the tournament. And then obviously, as luck came through, Sweden helped keep Ukraine in the tournament, ironically, and Ukraine knocked them out last night. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for that. So, I mean, going into the tournament, I mean, obviously you said about you'd gone through unbeaten. So there must have been a bit of positivity going into it. What was sort of Shevchenko's objective on sort of what would the Ukrainian public have been happy with?
So going into the tournament, obviously qualifying finished in 2019. A lot of people were expecting probably a bit more had the tournament come through last year. But, a bit of that momentum, as we were talking about, that unbeatenness, sort of got a bit stagnant during the Nations League, had a few losses against Germany, beat Spain, though, and then had a few disappointing results at the start of World Cup qualifying earlier this year with a draw against Finland and a draw against Kazakhstan, but also drawing with France 1-1. So one of those. But ultimately, going into the tournament, Shevchenko publicly stated that the main goal was to get out of the group.
Yeah.
And they got out of the group, albeit not on their own accord, but still made it out. And I mean, yesterday's result, the result against Sweden really helped, sort of redeem Ukraine after that woeful Austria performance. And here they are on the verge of, a potential semi-final. And also the fact that it's their first ever Euro quarterfinal after getting through to the knockout rounds for the first time ever in the Euros as well. So it's just history upon history, really.
Yeah, because previous Euros haven't really gone to plan. 2012 and 2016 were both group stage exits. And we haven't seen you in the World Cup for good few years now either. So yeah, this is all good. It must be good feeling in Ukraine.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of hopes put on this team, despite the stagnation maybe over recent months, but still due to that qualifying campaign, the fact that Shevchenko's the head coach, and the fact that they've got a good crop of players. A few that are playing in top leagues. Malinovsky at Atalanta, Yarmolenko obviously maybe not at his top form for West Ham, but still playing in the Premier League, and obviously Alexander Zinchenko, probably the star man that most England fans will be most familiar with. So yeah, it's going to be, however it ends, I think it's been a success.
Yeah. Oh, you've mentioned him a few times there, Shevchenko. He's an idol back in Ukraine, isn't he? I mean, as a player, we all remember him playing for the likes of Milan, Chelsea, and Dynamo Kyiv as well. His stock just must be going higher and higher.
That's the thing. Prior to the tournament, there was talks that he wants to go into club management, right? Okay. And where he'll end up in the future, no one really knows, because this national team job was his first job in management, which he came into in 2016. And it's been his only job so far. And, adjusting from international football to a club game is going to be hard. And obviously it depends on what sort of level he wants to drop down to after such a prestigious job, for himself personally. So we'll see how that goes. But there were going to be questions asked had they not made it through to round of 16. But now they have, and now they've got to the quarterfinals. I think he cemented himself as one of Ukraine's all-time greatest managers, as well as their players.
Yeah. So it is. We are meeting. It's England in the quarterfinal. I'm guessing you've got a little bit of split loyalties. What have your thoughts been on England?
They've impressed. I'm not going to lie. Southgate's got the tactics spot on. I think he's got them well regimented, and that display against Germany was rather impressive too. Defensively well organised, not outscoring opposition outrageously, but still getting the goals when they're needed. And the fact that Kane's got off the mark might not be the best sign for Ukraine going into it. Although, just going to put the caveat that I guess there's a lot less pressure on Ukraine. They're going into this basically anything's a bonus now. We can play for fun, for free. We've got the fan support on our side, and I guess we'll see whether that comes into it for England. Obviously, with the chance of football's coming home already, bearing down on the shoulders of the team.
We only have to look at the likes of Switzerland to see, or France. If you take your eye off the ball for a moment, that I don't like really the term underdog, but that lower team can still come through. History-wise, between the two nations, it's not been a massively, well, obviously because of the nature of the country of Ukraine, but we've played 7 times. We've won 4, or England have won 4. It's been drawn twice and only lost once, which was a World Cup qualifier, I believe. And was it Rob Green got sent off, I believe? Yeah, remember that one. But the most recent meeting, 2013, it was a bit of a World Cup qualifier, 0-0. But the only time we've met in battle, I guess, was during Euro 2012. It's a game that I went to in. Now you're going to have to correct me how to right way to pronounce this. Is it
Donetsk?
Donetsk, not Donetsk.
No.
Yeah, did you go to that one yourself?
Unfortunately, I was doing my GCSEs, so I couldn't make it.
You've aged yourself there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a game that England won 1-0. Wayne Rooney scored. It was either just before half-time or just after half-time, I think, with a header that basically he couldn't miss. So, and
the famous ghost goal as well in that one. Towards the end, where John Terry got it over the goal line, and the rest is history. The famous Specsavers ad that a lot of Ukrainians remember. The next day was like, you should have gone to Specsavers, but it was written in Ukrainian, and it was in all the papers in England.
Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, the days of VAR now, that or goal line technology, you'd have the ref tapping on his watch. That would have buzzed. Yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten about that one. One thing, obviously, you've said that you've been to the 4 Ukrainian games across Europe. Are you heading out to Rome for this one?
I've applied for accreditation. If it comes through, I might be able to get a little bit of a quarantine, cut off, if that makes sense.
Is that how it works with accreditation?
Yeah, so you can go to like matches and stuff, but you can't go into like restaurants, and like only for work purposes, essentially. So if that comes through, I'll be off. Otherwise, we'll probably be watching it somewhere in the UK.
What do you know? I mean, about Ukrainian expats in Italy? Is there a population over there that are going to the game? What do you know about potential people going there?
So I read this morning that there's about 240,000 Ukrainians over there in Italy. Quite a sizable diaspora population, apparently, due to the fact that, a lot of them can work freely in the EU, and that's where a lot of them have settled. So we'll see how many actually turn up, because I know there's obviously restrictions on England fans going. And the same for, the other EU countries where Ukrainians live, like Germany, France, etc. I'm sure a fair amount will be going down. So that's another caveat in this, puzzle of a match where, first England game away for them this tournament. So we'll see how it plays out.
It's like an old school FA Cup semi-final being played on neutral grounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you might say you're the underdog or no pressure, but it really could go any way. Well, I mean, what are your personal thoughts?
I think it might go to penalties for every reason, and then it's anyone's game. I'm not going to comment on that, but our keeper has been looking pretty sharp in training from the few clips I've seen of him saving penalties, and he's even been attempting a few Panenkas. So who knows?
Well, him and Jordan Pickford, he's capable of taking a penalty as well. Could be an interesting one. You yourself do a Ukrainian spoken website and podcast yourself. You're going to have to pronounce the website for me and maybe just explain it a little bit for us.
Yeah, so I run the social media sites and website called Zoria Londonsk. It's named after the team Zoria Luhansk, but as I'm from London, I thought I'll just add a little caveat into that and, bit of play on words. And yeah, basically I just cover Ukrainian football in English. There's not much access to Ukrainian football outside of Russian or Ukrainian language media. And, I thought that was underrepresented and started this resource, you can call it, in 2018. And yeah, from strength to strength ever since, really. A bigger interest in Ukrainian football, which is great. And, this week is 1 year anniversary of a podcast I started with two other friends of mine. It's called Ukraine Plus Football, and you can find it on all the good podcast providers. And we talk about anything and everything to do with Ukrainian football in English. So it makes it a bit more accessible for, people finding out about that. And we'll be having an episode soon about analysing the Sweden game and hopefully previewing the England one.
Good stuff. All right. Well, we'll link to it on the Three Lions podcast social media, and yeah, we'll look forward to the game, Andrew.
Thanks, Russell. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Andrew Todos there for the Ukrainian insights ahead of the game on Saturday, the 3rd of July in Rome, Italy. Kick-off 8:00, and it's being shown here on BBC One. Thanks also go to Aidan Smith, and you can find his match reports at threelions.net. And as always, thank you for listening, tuning in, wherever or however you digest your podcasts, either when you're doing the dishes or having it on in the car going to the local tip. Thank you. And if that was you who tapped me on the shoulder on Tuesday night outside of Wembley and just said you enjoyed the podcast and quickly walked on, thank you too. Apologies though, you caught me in a moment with a can of Foster's in my hand. Don't judge me. Now, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back very soon looking back on the Ukraine game with another England blogger. And don't forget you can follow the podcast on all the social media channels, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Just search Three Lions Podcast. I don't know where I'm watching it yet, but I imagine many of those pubs I mentioned earlier on, I bet they're all fully booked up. But like you, wherever you watch it, enjoy it. Let's hope for a semi-final place and another Gareth Southgate hurdle overcome. Cheers.